Mayday, 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 Montreal Canadiens trade talk is indeed picking up. So I'll open this video up by talking about the main idea. We repeat this over and over again, and the reason I do that is because just in case somebody is brand new, somebody hasn't been paying attention to the other videos we've made, we have to talk about our bases and cover them all real quick. Montreal's in a spot where Kent Hughes will probably go out there and try to make some sort of a trade, like the Kirby Dach trade, like the Alex Newhook trade, one more time, acquiring a forward that can slip into this top six and fit into that age range of being drafted from around 2017 to maybe 2020. Nick Suzuki's a 2017 guy, Cole Caulfield a 2019 guy, Kirby Dach 2019, Alex Newhook 2019, and then Jurasovkovsky's 2022. But if you wanted to explore guys in this age range, the big one we've been talking about this entire time has been Marty Necas out of the Carolina Hurricanes, and for good reason. He kind of fits the timeline, he's very good, and if Montreal was trying to go out there and get him, I don't think anybody would be surprised in the slightest. But we have ourselves a video segment from the Sick Kid podcast with Tony Marinaro and Grant McCagg, where, on their recent show, the title reads this: Should the Montreal Canadiens trade for Patrik Laine? Now, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go ahead and listen to the video segment yourself. It's 52 minutes long, but of course the segment on Laine doesn't go too far beyond that. So, yeah, we're talking about Patrik Laine here, Columbus Blue Jackets forward who has had some really big ups and downs over the past few years. Laine, at his best, is a 30-goal scorer in 82 games played. He can be a point-per-game stud. He had 56 points and 52 points in 56 games and 55 games, respectively, over the past 3 seasons in Columbus. This season, he only had 9 points in 18 games played. But ever since Patrik Laine entered the NHL's Player Assistance Program back in January, he hasn't played. And in fact, the last game that he did play was in December of 2023. And quite frankly, I mean, he was producing quite a few points. He had 5 points in the last 6 games of his 23-24 season, but that was before the new year started. So Laine has been out of it for a while, but we do recognize that the former second overall pick in 2016, who's making $8.7 million a year till 2026, still is a valuable hockey player, especially when he's in the lineup. So with this in mind, let's go out there and talk about the Laine to Montreal conversation. We're going to use this article on habsolomontfan.com that goes out there and brings up the details as to what McCagg and Marinaro talk about in regards to Laine. Article will also be linked in the description. Take a look at what the article says here. Appearing on the Sick podcast yesterday, Grant McCagg proposed a concrete transaction to bring Laine to Montreal. Here it is. Columbus would give away Patrik Laine, and Montreal would give away their 2024 first-round pick from the Jets and Jordan Harris. Now, this is a really simple trade idea. It's a 1-for-2 kind of deal. The first-round pick, which belongs to the Winnipeg Jets, is now confirmed to being at the 26th overall spot, and this is because the Edmonton Oilers ended up winning against the Vancouver Canucks in the second round. And you have Jordan Harris, who is also attached to this idea as well. Puck-moving, fairly stable, depth defenseman who is not really too amazing, but who is okay, you can say. He had some bad games here and there, not gonna lie, but still, Jordan Harris is a guy that a lot of Canadiens fans can project some stability into in the long term. It's just, as we've been talking about this entire time, the Habs have too many darn defensemen, and Jordan Harris is one of many that contributes to that huge pool. He is one of the more expendable ones, too, considering that he is a tad older and not as skilled. 23 years old, 5'11", 190, left-handed guy. Not to say that he's, like, totally talentless, but he is one of these guys where if you had to choose, you had to twist my arm and make a choice, he'd probably be one of the more movable Canadiens' young defensemen. And so with this in mind, you talk about the Habs and their desire to potentially go for it in the next little while. I'm not saying they're going to be a Stanley Cup championship contender, but maybe just a wild card. If they're going to try to slowly get into that position and force themselves into the dance one way or another, it's got to start this year, right? Especially with all the speculation that Kent Hughes is going to make some sort of a trade, get a top-tier guy who is young, like a Necas or maybe like a Patrik Laine, for example. We talked about this before, but the Montreal Canadiens, you could even say that their other first-round pick, the one that's their own from the 5th overall spot, that could be traded. Who really knows? We had already talked about the idea of trading it away if the Canadiens don't have Lindstrom available to draft, but still, it kind of goes to show that the Canadiens do have options here, that if you wanted to commit to extending that competitive window from, let's say, 2026 to 2024, you bring it back a little bit, make it more modern, then hey, there are avenues to do that. You could trade the 5th overall pick away for Trevor Zegras. You could trade away the 26th overall pick and somebody else for Patrik Laine. The thing is, with Laine, I'd say his trade value is a lot lower now compared to where it was when he was a point-per-game guy consistently with Columbus. It's just the fact that he took so much time off definitely hurt his stock a little bit, and he seems a lot more like a try-it-out sort of project rather than a guaranteed point-per-game 30-goal guy like we know he can be. So, should the Canadiens try to take advantage of that? You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, but before we go and end this video off, let's go out there and read what this article goes out there and says. With this proposal idea of Patrik Laine for the 26th overall pick and Jordan Harris, the Montreal Canadiens would therefore receive an elite sniper who has already scored 36 and 44 goals in his first seasons in the NHL by giving in a return to a late first-round pick, as well as a defender whose place is currently threatened in the formation and will not have a regular role in the team's defensive brigade in the near future. Laine now has a reputation as a shaky player who misses extended periods due to injuries. On the other hand, when he is healthy, he is one of the most dangerous shooters in the entire NHL. McCagg suggests that Harris, who is a former draft pick of Trevor Timmins, who is currently an assistant scout for the Jackets, could be of interest to them to help solidify their currently porous and unstable defensive brigade. He's also not the first to suggest that the Canadiens should consider acquiring the mysterious attacker when journalist Arpon Basu of The Athletic also proposed a trade a few weeks ago. Would you accept this idea? And a change of scenery could definitely be beneficial for the former 2nd overall pick. For me personally, if you were twisting my arm, 26th overall and Jordan Harris for Patrik Laine, I don't care about the cap, dude. Like, I really don't. Getting Laine on this team would be awesome. Just imagine Patrik Laine on one wing, Juraj Slafkovsky on the other wing, and Slafkovsky learns a thing or two as to how to rip pucks on goal, clap bombs, and do something to your moms from Patty Laine himself. I get it, you could sort of say that maybe the window of opportunity, the window of competitiveness doesn't really align too much, like you'd prefer to get younger, but when you really try to think about it, I mean, Marty Necas was a 2017 draftee, Laine's 2016, just separated by 1 year. You could say that, okay, from Suzuki and Caulfield and Slafkovsky, there's a lot of distance being covered there timeline-wise, since Slafkovsky was a 2022, Caulfield was a 19, Suzuki was a 17, so it is a wide array of guys, you could say, but you kind of need those older, more experienced guys who are still young to round out the rest of your hockey team, right? And I mean, Patrik Laine is not old, he's 26 years old, so I guess he is getting up there, but still there's a lot more growth that you can say he has, especially when you consider that he hasn't played a full season in ages. So if you're a Montreal Canadiens fan, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about trading away the 26th overall pick from Winnipeg and Jordan Harris for a guy like Patrik Laine. If you're a Columbus Blue Jackets fan, what are your thoughts about this entire idea too? Jordan Harris could be a nice stabilizing force on your back end, but if Patrik Laine is as much of a concern that's being implied here, would you take some sort of a trade like this? Get yourselves another first-round pick, use that on a prospect that could help you out at the end of the first round, and then get that asset on the blue line as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.